Turn on recording. Okay. As you could probably figure out by now by looking at my name tag on the screen, and because we've done this a few times, my name is Jamie Korda Hijawi. I am the director, and I would like to welcome everyone here today. Thank you for joining us for the Youth Committee. I am optimistic that this will be our last virtual meeting, and in June we will be able to resume in-person meetings. But it is a cautious optimism because the biggest lesson I've learned, and the most important one this last year, has been that nothing ever really goes as planned anymore. So fingers crossed, I'm hopeful, but we'll see. Keep your eyes on the monthly newsletters that come out. That's the first place where I will make the announcement of what I think is going to happen for the June meetings. And if you are not getting those and you'd like to, let me know and I'll get you on that mailing list, that emailing list. Before Tiffany begins the meeting, just a couple housekeeping things. First is a reminder to everyone that this meeting is being recorded. Keep that in mind, that anything that your mic or your camera picks up will be of public record. We'll post the recording to our YouTube page. If you search Local Workforce Area 23, you will find it. And then we will also send out a link to all the members as well. Secondly, please keep your microphone muted when you're not actively speaking. To mute your phones, for those of you that called in, you press *6 and then press *6 again to unmute. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Tiffany to call the meeting to order.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for jumping on another Zoom call. And thank you, Jamie and Tony, for setting this up. We'll call the meeting to order with introductions and roll calls, please.
All right, I think I have everybody just because it's Zoom and I know who's here, but if we'll go through the motions. Dave Cole, I know you're here, so you don't have to unmute yourself. Amy Corbin.
She raised her hand.
She was? Oh, did she? Okay, great. I'm not looking. Lori Jennings is here. Chuck Jones. Van Leeds. Tiffany.
Yes.
Patty is Metzger. She make it? Nope. Sally Shawer emailed, says she will not be here. Chris Stroll.
Here.
And Kathy Swinson.
Here.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda to review and approve our December 14th, 2020 minutes. Do I have a motion to present or to approve the minutes as presented?
This is Chris, so moved.
Do I have a second?
This is Kathy Swinson, second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, the minutes are approved. Number 3, election of a vice chair.
Jamie, you want to take that or you want me to, Tiffany? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it needs to be you or Jamie.
Okay, I'll do it. Jamie's muted right now, so I'll just do it. You're lucky I can look up and see you muted, Jamie. All right, due to Chuck Rose is the current vice chair for the youth committee, and he's had some health issues in the last year or so. He's no longer active on the board, and he hasn't been to one of these meetings in quite a while. So last meeting we took him off due to the committee restructure, being 50% of the board or 50% of the committee had to be board members. So at that time we kind of took him off unofficially. So right now, just in Tiffany's absence, we need somebody to be able or willing to take over the meeting. So if anybody wants to volunteer to be the vice chair, it's a hard job. You get paid great.
Excuse me?
But yeah. Oh, you
We
haven't
need to
got
talk
that
afterward.
You haven't got that check?
No.
So if anybody wants to volunteer or if somebody wants to nominate somebody, just being mean, that'd be great too.
This is Kathy Swinson, and I nominate Chris Stroll.
Oh, God.
Chris, I'll promise to do my best and very rarely be gone.
Should have known Kathy Swinson was going to pipe up and be nominating me for this. I would be happy to take that on.
Are there any other nominations? Well, then we would, now it's back to you, Tiffany, being the chair.
Okay.
Need a motion and a second to
Yes. Do
accept
we-
Chris and all that
yeah.
stuff.
Exactly what Tony said. Do we have a motion to accept Chris Stroll as the new vice chairman of the youth committee?
I'll motion.
And Kathy Swinson, second.
All those in favor say aye. All
I
those opposed? All right, congratulations, Chris. You will
Debbie,
be,
do you need me to spell my name out so you can get all the checks right?
Yeah, yeah.
all right. Number 4, youth roundtable. So I'm assuming this means we haven't met for a while, just kind of going around and seeing what everybody's been up to, any issues, any concerns with everybody's.
Tiffany, this one actually was your brainchild a while ago, but I know we've all like slept
Oh, yes.
in. So this is the youth roundtable centered on juvenile justice.
Oh,
service.
yeah.
Do you want to speak more on that idea? Do you recall?
If you'll help me, like I
Maybe.
said, they all know me quite well. I like to throw spaghetti on the walls, and if it sticks, great. If it doesn't, we move on. So here I didn't even realize that this was the idea, but I think correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, and I think we've talked about this as a larger group, even pre-Jamie, about really focusing in on that juvenile audience and really pulling in people that work in that arena and having kind of a roundtable or focus group with them. Just, a concentrated meeting to talk to them, get their input, again, remind them of the services that the program offers and move forward from there. And then hopefully maybe from there recruit in the future people onto this committee from that particular service industry. Did I sort of nail it, Jamie?
Yes, that's everything I could recall from our conversation. And I think we also, you might have just mentioned this and it went over my head, to come up with some sort of referral system or ways of getting the information of the students or youth in their services, how to get them over to us.
So is that something that we could add on to an existing meeting and have kind of this group? And I don't want to bring in, 20 people, you bring in key people from maybe a variety of counties around the area that we serve. And Zoom's a great way to do it right now. So they don't have to take too much time off work and travel. So just throwing that out there that, maybe that's a good special meeting that we host between now and our regular June meeting. Feedback from you guys, because I know we've brought the whole probation system, the court system, all of those things up before. Any thoughts, suggestions?
I like the idea of bringing people together pre-COVID. We did have on the WIA side of the house, we had a group of healthcare providers that came in and provided us, and Tiffany, I think you were there that day, provided us some really good information. We walked away from that we thought there was a lack of healthcare providers in the area, nurses, et cetera. We found out it was a childcare issue. It wasn't necessarily a healthcare, that there were practitioners out there, just they didn't have childcare, so they weren't able to work as many hours as maybe some of them wanted to. I like the idea of getting a group of people together, and whether it's from the juvenile justice system, the high schools, people who serve youth from different sectors and from different areas, people who employ youth. I think you could go a lot of different places with this, but I think it's a good idea.
Do you think it helped, Chris, that we were somewhat focused on the healthcare industry at first, or do you see it being more rich of a conversation if we add a couple of different industries together? Should we keep it just the juvenile court kind of probation system to talk, or do you mix in those other things that you mentioned?
I think you can do it either way. I don't think either way is wrong.
Okay.
I think you're going to get good information from people, because as we start down the recovery path from what we've been through, just now it's been a year, the more and more I read, mental health is going to become a barrier for youth and for adults. And if we can figure out what that's going to look like, or what other people think it's going to look like, or what services we provide, I feel like we're the best kept secret.
Mm-hmm.
All of our programs, best kept secret ever. We don't try to keep them secrets, but best kept secret.
And I really think that would be a valuable component to this committee, you know, that we really kind of act as that gatherer, so to speak, for the youth services. That I think there's enough of us on this committee. We're pretty broad and pretty diverse in our areas that we work and serve, that I think we could act as a nice facilitation for this focus group, I guess. Do you see it as becoming a part of our existing youth team meeting, or is that too much? Should we schedule like a focus group Zoom? I'm just throwing this out there, with juvenile court probation in between meetings, and then we can discuss at our regular youth meetings the findings and what we're going to do moving forward as a result of that focus group.
Tiffany, this is Lori.
Yes.
I really think it should be outside of the committee meeting first.
Okay.
Start there and then bring the information back to the
Sure.
committee.
Sure. And again, you know, whoever can attend from this meeting, great. If you have a conflict, a work conflict, and can't, I'm sure there'll be enough of us to be able to facilitate that group. And then, like Lori said, you know, keep it outside the regular meeting, and then we can have a report back at the next youth council, or youth committee meeting, what we found out, and then discuss how to move forward, how to use the data and move forward.
This is Kathy Swinson. I think that's a great idea. I'm not sure how much communication Lori has with the juvenile system, but I think it'd be a great idea to bring in as many of our county representatives as you could, and Lori could inform them of services provided through youth, and then get their feedback on how we could work together.
And Kathy, you cut out right at the beginning of what you said. Lori could has good relationships and contacts who?
I said I didn't know how much communication Lori currently has with the juvenile system.
Okay.
And how strong that relationship is, and maybe this would be a way to build that for her as well.
So again, I think keep it short, you know, probably an hour or less, and you know, maybe even come up with a few facilitated questions that we want to discuss, and maybe send them to them ahead of time, so they kind of can think about issues, problems, questions they have. That might make the meeting go faster. I definitely don't want to keep them too long, and then that would allow Lori time to go over the program as well.
I just sat in on a meeting on Friday with DCEO, and they used Jamboard. Has anyone used Jamboard? that might be a good tool to utilize because it is actually, they did this with liked, learned, and future. So
Okay.
the Jamboard comes up and then it's actually like little Post-it notes that you can put things on and you put them on the Jamboard, just like you would do if there was a Post-it note on your wall. So I'll be honest, like that's all that I know about it. I found it
I
very
was so hoping, Chris, she would say, oh, I'm really good at this. I'll run that part of the meeting.
But I think we could get together and maybe put this Jamboard,
Yeah.
figure it out between the two of us. If you've seen it, it was wonderful. It was
Okay.
very interactive.
Yeah. Or better yet, is anyone on the call an expert in Jamboard and just forgetting to unmute themselves?
No, but as Chris is the new vice chair, I think that's a great job for.
I do want to learn about it. So
Yeah.
this might be a way for us to use
And
it.
Chris, I need to learn about it. So yeah, it's going to force us to.
I would help with that, Chris.
Okay.
I'm just getting good at changing my name on Zoom, so I don't know.
I just got really good at breakout rooms. So, you know, and now we're going to probably stop using them. No, we're not. But okay. So maybe the three of us can throw a practice Zoom meeting together and we can talk about it and work it out. I'm looking just roughly kind of in between, and I know it's going to depend. I can always send a doodle link out or something to see when the best time to do it. But from any of your perspectives, is there a good time, maybe in May, that I'm thinking like late April, early May, that's about the middle in between our meetings. But I don't know that service industry well enough to know if that's a terrible time. You know, is there a better day of the week for those types of people? Does anybody know that industry well enough to comment?
I think it's all going to depend on what days they have court.
Okay.
And I think that's every county. It just depends on
Yeah.
what days they have court as to what days they're busy.
Okay. So it sounds like we need to learn Jamboard, come up with an agenda and some of the questions we're going to ask, and also a list of potential invites, correct?
Tiffany, if we're going to look at doing this, like, let's just say last week of April, first week of May, sometime in there, would it be possible for this group to get back together maybe mid-April sometime? Maybe we can even, the three of us can get together and test out the Jamboard, and maybe then we could bring the Jamboard into a meeting and we could kind of test it out with this group so they know what they're going to see, what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
And then that would.
Excellent idea.
And again, it doesn't have to be exactly 6 weeks out. I mean, we could, you know, if it's better for everybody else to wait until late May. I mean, as long as we had the focus group before our next meeting, like Lori said, so we could actually report back what happened.
If we schedule a meeting in April, it holds us accountable to get it moving.
True. True.
Just me.
How about April the 19th? Is that too late?
Works for me.
That's good.
The same time? Okay. And that at that point, we can go over agenda and practice the Jamboard. Who would be good to help organize that invitation list? I mean, I know a few people from my counties, but as far as anyone else in the area, so how do we handle that?
I think we could get some names together also.
Okay. So Lori, can I say if someone's really wants somebody from that service industry represented from their county to give you a call and let you know, I really would like this person invited.
Sure,
Can we do that? Make you the
Yes.
point person for that?
sure.
Okay.
You know what? And I'll put my email address in the chat box if anybody would happen to have. Anybody they want to send. There you go.
Okay. And we'll start with, again, that kind of juvenile service industry with courts, probation, all of that, because I know that's been brought up years and years. We've constantly been bringing that area up, that we need to kind of keep connecting and reconnecting with them. So, and we'll see how it goes and see if it warrants then, like Chris said, meeting with all the high school counselors, or then maybe going into employers of youth or something, if we see it as valuable. Does that sound good to everyone? Okay. All right. Thank you, Jamie, for reminding me that that was not just a round robin. Number 5.
Excellent idea. I'm glad we
Yeah.
could discuss it finally.
Okay. Number 5, report on activities and programs for youth. Lori and Elaine.
Okay, just some updates since our last meeting. DCO, they provided some virtual WIOA eligibility training for our staff back in January. This included just general WIOA eligibility. They went over youth eligibility, and also they presented some information on legislatively mandated follow-up requirements for us. Lakeland College, they recently performed program monitoring across all of our programs. There were no findings during this monitoring visit. DCO, they are scheduled to come in and do program and fiscal monitoring in May. And we haven't got an official notice with the dates for this visit as of yet. Staff, they were just real busy December, January, preparing for spring semester with new enrollments, doing a lot of outreach in the community. Our online application is still being utilized. It is accessible. We are encouraging everybody to use that if at all possible. Our offices, they are open by appointment only. So anybody going in, they have to make an appointment with a career counselor to get in the door. The One Stop in Effingham does remain closed. We have not received any word as to the opening date of that. We currently have 61 customers receiving career and or training services in the youth program. We've exited 35 customers this program year. The total number served to date is 96. We're still continuing to seek and recruit youth 16 through 24 that are not attending school and are interested in work experience or on the job training. We had a staff meeting last Friday, and we had a lengthy discussion about youth enrollments, work experience, and our numbers really being down this year. Staff, they're still doing a lot of outreach in their communities, but they report that due to our offices being closed to the public, they're not seeing a whole lot of foot traffic, and seeing by customers by appointment only. That has affected our enrollments. Youth, they're not following through with appointments. A lot of our work sites that we've normally worked with, due to COVID, they do not want to put youth on at this time. We're hoping with maybe schools going back to full day weeks, warmer, weather getting a little bit nicer, that this is going to start helping and bringing our enrollments up. So, but if you have anybody that, you'd like to refer for the youth program, please send them our way, send them to the county offices, which you're located. And that was it.
Okay. Performance measures.
Okay.
Or does anybody have any questions? Sorry. For Lori or Elaine.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm
so-
going to share my screen, and we didn't get the performance report sent out, but I'm going to share my screen. Hey, Jamie, can you unlock that, please?
I just did. Go ahead and try again.
Okay, thank you. Okay, here we go. On the very top is our youth performance measures. And as you can see, we are exceeding 3 and meeting 1. The youth credential attainment rate, we are failing at this time. We have to meet this measure, we have to have 54%. And right now we're at 48.94. We have identified 6 participants that are in this measure. 3 of those we think should not be in the measure at all. And then another 3 that should be in, there's a numerator and denominator, and they're showing on the numerator, but not the denominator. So we think they should be in both. If those, the state is aware of this. If those get changed, we will probably be at meet, but there isn't a whole lot of participants in this measure, which, doesn't help us. So if we can get those 6 changed, we'll probably be in the meet right now. So we'll see what happens June 30th, and hopefully we can get those turned around. But across the board, our overall outcome is fail. We're also showing, I know this isn't youth, but we're also showing a fail in the dislocated worker, probably 1 customer. And once we put those gains in after the semester ends, we'll be okay on that one also. But if we have 1 fail in any of these measures, our overall outcome is fail. So we're watching this closely. Hopefully we can turn this one around.
Van asked in the chat box, how do we compare to other programs in the state?
At this time of year, you know what, believe me, I went through every other workforce area in the state. Most of them, a lot of them are showing 7, 8 fails across the board. I found maybe 2, 3 that were meeting their overall outcome. It all comes down to June 30th, the end of the program year. I mean, a lot can change, because we're continually going in, and putting in credentials and measurable skills gains. So they update this on a weekly basis. They do that over the weekend. So I could come back in next Monday and we'd be meeting all of these. So.
Well, and again, I hope the state, when it comes time to look at all of this, when it wraps up and money and budgets and, this has been a crazy year, and it's been a crazy year all across the state. So, it's not like you haven't been working and you haven't been trying and you haven't been. So hopefully they will look at it as a special cause.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they don't want us to use COVID as an excuse, but when it comes right down to it, we have been impacted, all the way around by COVID. And, we're doing everything possible. It's always been, from even when everything was shut down, it was still business as usual, and we continued trying to serve as many customers, and reaching out to those, that we could. So, I think a lot of good, even though we've had some major challenges, I think a lot of good has, came out from the last year too. Our staff has really worked hard, and they've stayed committed to their customers and helping. So that is all I have. If anybody has any other questions.
Any questions? Well, you guys do a great job as always, especially during COVID. So, all right, any other business today?
Before we get there, it looks like we had someone join the meeting, 077571. Can you announce who you are, please? if you're able to, I can't tell if it's a phone number. It's just a number.
I
So
think maybe you're talking about me and I'm on the phone. This is
Um,
David Cole.
no, I see your phone number, David. There's an
Oh, okay.
entry.
Someone else.
They're connecting to audio. So when they get connected, I'll ask again. Go ahead and continue for now.
This is Kathy Swinson, and I'd like to talk a little bit about a grant that IECC is applying for, if that's okay, if it's the right time.
Yes, please do.
Jamie, I had left a message for you on the phone. It was probably during a time when you were out of the office, and so I've yet to talk to you individually about this, but we're going to write for a DCEO Youth Career Pathways Grant. And got about 2.5 weeks to complete the applications due on April 1st. There's a couple things we want to do with this. The first being to create, I guess you'd call it an alternative high school, where it's a credit recovery program where students that are under 21 can perhaps still earn high school credits and graduate from their home high school. And then it is a WIOA funded grant. So we would be expected to do what service providers do, in that we've got to have a work-based learning component. So we would actually be paying for work experience, and we're still trying to figure out how to make that work and trying to connect with some local employers. We want to start with Richland, Clay, and Wayne counties as our target areas. So 2 of those would be in 23 and 1 is in 26. We have talked to Pam Barbie down in 26 and talked about co-enrolling. However, we would be the ones that would be spending the money. But then they would have to have follow-up for a year after the grant. And Pam said she prefers to provide the case management because it would be, help your numbers, hopefully. And if you start that case management at the beginning, then it would make sense to follow up post a grant. But funding would be through us. So, the supportive services, the work experience, they go into training, that sort of thing. So really would like to talk to you guys more about that, or you can tell me now how you think that would work. But trying to work out how to do the work experience, because it's got to be something that leads into, one of our, 3 or 4 industry sectors. So it's got to be healthcare, manufacturing, TDL. I think we also put in construction for 23 in the plan. But we would be targeting like healthcare, TDL, and manufacturing. So it would be in addition to the academic side, whether they fit in the adult ed classes or in the high school credit recovery program, there still would be a career focused component where they'd be going through either a healthcare, manufacturing, TDL bridge program and include work-based learning with that. Still not sure what kind of credentials we can come out with that comes out from, high school or adult ed before going into college, but looking to work them into CNA training on the healthcare side, maybe truck driving on the TDL side. Just trying to work out all that stuff. But I wanted to bring this up to you guys and see what you thought and get some feedback on how, we can make it work together.
This sounds really interesting. I would be game for a more thorough discussion with you and maybe include Lori, if not Chris as well, to see exactly what the details are, like what you've planned with Pam Barbie in 23 and see how we can make that align and how that would affect us, what we could do as well. So can we set up a time where all of us can get together and talk more thoroughly through it?
I would very much like to do that. I'd like to have a meeting with you, Jamie, and maybe Chris and Pam and my supervisor, Sharmila Kakak, who's over adult ed, all at the same time so we can have a good discussion. So I'll need to check calendars and get back to you guys if that's okay.
All right, that sounds great. Definitely, I'd like to include Lori and or Elaine in there because,
Sure, absolutely.
yeah.
And maybe
Perfect.
get the director of the WADI down south. That has changed. I can't remember who that is right now, but yeah.
All right, awesome. Yeah, great idea.
Before we go any further, I just want to say one thing, and I'm just being devil's advocate is all I'm doing here. You guys are going to have this meeting and talk, and Kathy, what you're doing with Pam down in 26, we would like to mirror that if we could. But it just seems on the surface of this, you guys are going to be targeting youth that we can't get. So it's almost going to be a competition for the youth. We're having trouble spending the WIA money in youth. And then it's going to be a competition to get those youth. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know if the criteria.
And I definitely don't want that to happen. That's why co-enrollment, absolutely, because we're going to go after out of school youth. So,
Right.
That's what you need. So I want it to work for you guys too. And if you have funds to spend, I need to talk to DCEO and see, maybe we don't ask for as much and you do work experience, but we help find those locations and build those relationships. However we can make this work to everybody's benefit. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I mean, I was kind of hoping you would say that. And
absolutely. Yeah. I
because
don't want to, there's no reason to, duplicate services. And if you have the money in your budget to serve these kids, then we want to utilize that, and you get the performance measures and we want to help you meet those performance, so yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Lori, by the shake of your head, is that okay? I mean, is that?
Yeah, well, and I was
Okay.
also thinking because of on the work experience side, we have to get to that 20%. If we're able to co-enroll, pick up the work experience piece of it, they take care of the training. We could maybe help with some of the supportive services. I think it would be a win-win for both of us.
If DECIO will let us do that, because that's part of this grant, it's got to be 20% work-based learning. So if I can say, we're going to partner with you guys and you are covering that, would they accept that as 20% for the grant?
It has to be 20.
I don't understand why they wouldn't, but
yeah.
I will find out.
Okay.
All right. Anything else for Kathy? Questions about the grant opportunity, the partnership opportunity?
Kathy, if some of the people you're thinking about down in that area as far as recruitment of students, so juvenile justice, guidance counselors, whatever, I think that those would be some of the people we'd like to see within this roundtable discussion also. Just letting them know kind of what you've got going on and if you get the grant and what that's going to look like for some of the counties that you serve also.
Yes, absolutely. We will be going through the probation offices. I know the woman here in Richland County, and I thought I'd reach out to her, and I'm sure there's a listing somewhere of juvenile probation officers to help Lori out too. But yeah, we've talked to secondary ROE superintendents, and they're on board to help, and they have alternative op-ed schools, and we've told them that we don't want to compete with them. It's when they're out of their services that we'd like the kids for them to help us tell the kids about us as an additional option, but not to pull their kids away. But it's the ones who's already dropped out. So yeah, absolutely.
Anybody else? All right, thank you, Kathy, for bringing that to the group. Anybody else have things they're working on in their area that others on the youth? I keep wanting to call us a team, a council, a committee, task force needs to know about. All right. Any follow-up, Tony, with the compliance issue with the bylaws and this committee? Are we good to go? Everything taken care of with that?
Yeah. Yeah, we have, as of the last meeting, we have 10 members of this committee, official members. We're not going to not allow anyone in, but as far as quorum and purposes, we have 10 people and 6 board members of those 10. So as far as the bylaws are concerned and any compliance issues, we are fine going forward. I know you mentioned a little bit earlier, with the getting more people maybe to join us. We have to take that one step at a time to make sure that for every non-member we get, we need a board member to join.
Right.
Just
even if they're considered advisory and
if
not
they're considered
voting?
advisory, no, we can have
Okay.
100 people on here if you want to.
Okay. I'm just thinking, if somebody's just dying to be a part of this group and, we don't have the numbers to make them an official member. And if they want to be a part of the discussion and, communication part of it, we could at least have advisory roles if needed. And then when a position opens up, then hopefully they would be our first choice to come
Right.
on board as an official voting member. Okay. Okay. And it looks like our next meeting is in June. Is that June 14th or June 21st? You guys know? I'm going to put money
believe
down.
it's
It's the
the 21st.
21st. Okay. All right. So if we are in person, we will shift back, I'm assuming, to the 3 o'clock meeting schedule and then the 6 o'clock board schedule at that point. If we're still Zoom, we will stay at the 10 a.m. Okay, great. Any ideas or suggestions for maybe starting to bring in a guest speaker again to this group to just address a new program out there, a new position in a program of interest that we want to hear more about? Anybody have any ideas? If you don't at this point, let us know. Let Tony know, Jamie know, Lori know of somebody that you think the group would be really interested in meeting or learning more about their program, because I would like to start including some more guest speakers, even if we have to do it on Zoom. So, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be in person next June.
Tiffany, I think it would be a good idea if you meet with the probation and core systems staff, maybe in the June meeting, you could choose somebody from that area to discuss, what their side of it is and how
Oh, good.
my partner.
I was just going to suggest
Yeah.
that.
That's a great idea. So kind of a representative from the focus group we just had to come in and share their thoughts. Awesome. Great idea. And again, we can do that in person or hopefully by Zoom. So, and we can ask that at the end of the focus group that we'd like one of you to kind of be the service representative to come meet the rest of the team and debrief on everything we discussed. So, all right. Are there any other public comments? All right. Well, if not, thank you again for taking the time to join us today. And anything else, Jamie, that you can think of, or Tony? If not, I will motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
This is Kathy Swinson. I motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
All those opposed? All right. Thank you guys. Great ideas. And we'll be in touch with where all this plays out for the focus group coming up.
Bye, everybody.
You guys.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Tiffany.
Thank you.
So, do we need to do a roll call first, Jamie?
Yes, right before roll call though, I will let you guys know we are officially now being recorded. So keep that in mind. Anything that comes up across your microphone or your camera will be of public record. The recording will be posted to our YouTube page, which you can find by searching Local Workforce Area 23. We will also send out a link of the recording to all the members. Also, please keep your microphone muted when not actively speaking. To mute your phones, for those of you who called in, you press *6 and then you press *6 again to unmute. I will go ahead and turn it over to, I think, will Tony be doing roll call for this? And then Kevin can go ahead from there.
All right, just be seeing the people that are in here. We do not have a quorum. I'll go through the motions, just to be safe, I guess. Patty Metzger, Kevin Busher,
Present.
Van is here.
Here.
Jill Michael, Nancy Purdy, Pat Click, Lori Jennings,
Here.
Amy Delaney, Chris Stroll,
Here.
Connie Waldrop. We are too shy of a quorum.
Okay. So, guess we'll just go ahead without a quorum. We don't really need to approve the minutes if we don't have a quorum, correct?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. We'll just go to the business services update, Jamie.
As of now, there still has not been a business services team meeting. However, there is a pre-team meeting scheduled. Freddie Buckingham is the new Southern Region Business Services and Veteran Outreach Program Manager for IDES. He's taken over for John Odie. He has asked me to schedule a pre-meeting for March 24th at 1 p.m. There's a few of the previous team members that will be attending that meeting, and from there we will develop a new team and schedule future meetings, and hopefully have some action come from them, and I'll be able to report back in June on that. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Tony, on referrals.
Okay, before we get to that, 618 and then 151 is the last number. Is that you, Connie Waldrop?
Yes,
Awesome, thank you.
you're welcome.
Referrals, just the same thing every 3 months. Actually, this last time, I didn't send an email out asking for your referrals, and shocker, I didn't get any. I will send that out today, so please respond to the email that I send out later on with your referrals, and the time period is going to be September through December. If you could get those to me, that's great. We're tracking the number of referrals, not necessarily the names of referrals just yet, but same old song and dance, just different time frame. So look for that email later on today for me.
Okay, thanks, Tony. And then you want to go over the MOU billings and the PY21 MOU budget?
Okie dokie. MOU billings from us. Debbie sent out the billings for the D&O insurance. Everybody has paid, I think, except, oh goodness, I think it's DES and National Able. We had conversations with National Able. They are gonna do their best to get paid here shortly. DES usually waits till the end of the year anyway, so there's that. CEFS, I understand, is not going to bill because the resource room person is not in the building. DES will probably still bill because it's infrastructure costs. So they're still paying rent on the building and still heating it and all that other kind of stuff. So they're going to still bill for their costs. And I think that's it. I got all kinds of things going on here. Nancy Purdy's been trying to get in for 15 minutes and she says the meeting has not started. So Jamie, I don't know what we did there.
I think she must be on the wrong meeting then.
On the wrong meeting. She just texted me. I can text her. Maybe we can forward her the new link and see if she can't get on.
I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay, thank you. As far as that's really it with the MOU billings. And I did say that right, didn't I, Lori and Kevin, that CEFS is not going to bill for PY20 because that person is no longer in the equation. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, I just didn't want to misspeak. All right. So there's that with the MOU billings. And as everyone on this call should know, last week, I think it was last week, we had the MOU negotiations team meeting, presented the PY21 budget. I think it's like $11,000 less than what it was last year. I've gotten some approvals and I'll be reaching out to those that have not officially approved so I can send in the report of outcomes to the state. Says we all did agree that the budget is fine. And that's really all I got about that. I just want to let you know that it was, we did have that meeting. So if someone is on this meeting that was not on last week's meeting, you know, that we had that meeting, everybody agreed to the budget and we are going to move forward. Anybody have any questions about those three different items?
Okay, we're going to move on to Lori, the one-stop operator report.
The one-stop operator, we met last Thursday, March 11th. Not a whole lot going on. The one-stop center in Effingham does remain closed. The reopening plan is very much up in the air at this time. This is less COVID related at this point. There's just several things that impact the ability to reopen. On the IDES side, they're just backlogged with catching up on the number of claims, lots of fraud, and with the stimulus package being approved, security and safety is an ongoing concern, and they're just trying to figure out the best way to move forward and get the center open. So nothing to report there. So that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Lori. Partner reports. I do want to just give an update with CFS as far as some services we got, just to let everybody know. We do have plenty of money in our light heat program. So if you know of anybody that needs assistance with heating right now, please send them our way. We do have money for people that are needing help with rent, etc. We will be getting some more money sometime in the near future too. So if you know of anybody that needs help with rent and help with heating their home, please send them our way because we have the dollars. We will be getting a water program to help people that are low income pay for water. Don't know when that's going to happen, but there was money in the bill that was passed in December by Congress, and there has been additional money on the bill that Biden just signed last week for a water program for the low income. So we will be having that So again, if you know anybody needs in any kind of need, you can send them to our way or to Urba's way, whatever county you're in, or in BCFW. Have similar programs, and just send them our way, and we'll try to help the best we can. So anybody else have a partner report?
Lakeland College Title II Adult Education. We are still offering classes in person. Enrollment is a little bit lower than what it's been in the past. One of the things we touched on just briefly during the one-stop operator meeting was how to get some of those referrals of those UI clients and figuring out if we can make contact with them through the different title partners and be able to help them. So looking at just some different ways to recruit some of those adult education students. If you have any adult education students that live in our area or one of the other Title II partners areas, please reach out to them. We're all here to help students be able to achieve that high school diploma.
For Title IV DRS, our referrals are down. We are still working remotely. Really, our offices aren't open, and we don't know if and when they will for the public. And we'll just continue to work remotely till we hear more. Thanks.
Hey, Kevin, on the WIA side, we are getting ready for summer semester at the area colleges. So we are taking referrals, or if anybody knows of anyone interested in going to school this summer, we will start the application process. We're also looking for youth 16 through 24 for our work experience program. So send any referrals to any of our outreach offices.
This is Connie from DHS, and all offices are currently open. We have lowered staff. We're trying to do as much remotely, or we continue to do as much remotely as possible. We are still currently extending all medical and SNAP benefits are still continuing to be supplemented during the emergency period. There's also a new
Connie, you just went mute there. So if you're still wanting to talk, unmute. To unmute on the phone is *6, and to mute again is *6 again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. There's also a new PEBT program for pandemic and emergency SNAP benefits for school-age children. There's no application. It has been being completed through the Link unit and the ISB, Illinois State Board of Education, and the school district. So we do have a customer call center that is taking calls and resolving any questions or issues that students have. Typically, any problems with the pandemic emergency benefits are sent to the school for questions and problem resolution, but we can also follow up with that. I think that's about it. Thanks.
Real quick, it looks like we had someone else join the meeting. Nancy Purdy, is that you with the last 3 digits, 592?
Yes, it's me. I'm so sorry. I started this at 11:45 and sat on hold for the longest time. I was in the wrong meeting.
That's okay. It's a little confusing. I'm sorry I didn't realize that sooner and get that to you faster. So thank you. Welcome. I think that does bring us to a quorum now, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, does anybody have any other partner updates? Okay, since we do have a quorum, I do need a motion to approve the minutes of the December 14th, 2020 meeting.
I'll make that motion. It's Van.
Okay. Van makes the motion. Do I have a second?
This is Chris. I'll second.
Chris seconds. All those in favor by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carried.
Hey,
Do we have
Kevin,
it? Yes.
just so you know, Jill Michael just joined, so I don't know if she wants to give any sort of report.
Sure. Would you like to give any report? Jill, do you want to give any kind of report?
Hey, no, I'm on the road, so I'm having a hard time putting. Sorry, guys. You're trying to travel this morning, and it is not wanting to work very well.
Okay, any old business or new business? Any public comment? All right, when is the next meeting scheduled?
June 21st should be the date, and then depending on if we're in person or via Zoom still, but hopefully in person.
Is that June, when you say?
21st.
Okay. And just on CFS's side, we'll see how this progresses with COVID and everything, but we have a plan that our board approved. So any kind of plan that deviates from that, I would have my board approved if we're going to have a meeting at CFS next in June. I just thought I'd tell you. I don't know. I mean, it might progress and, things are lifted and it'll be fine to have a meeting here. But I will have to get that approved by the board. So I just want to give you guys a heads up on that.
Thank you for that. We kind of were anticipating something to that effect. So we will be definitely in contact closer to the day when we know what we're going to do and see where you guys are at. And if we have to make other arrangements for a different larger venue, maybe so that we can socially distance, we're prepared to do that as well.
Okay. The only thing I need now is a motion to adjourn.
Kevin, I'll make that motion.
Okay, Lori makes the motion. I get a second.
I'll
This is
second.
Connie, I'll second.
Connie seconds. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carried. Thank you, guys.
Thank